we're going to get started. This is fun. Our warm up today, open up your chat for us, please. It's much more fun when we play together. We're typing in your favorite board game of all time. And as I look at this, Clue, Monopoly, Life, these are winning. But Brian, Sagrada, I don't know that one. Rummy Cube, got
Yes.
it. Hi, Brian Strew. Uno, good one. There's like so many different meaner versions of Uno now. Has anybody played that recently? Yeah, there's like Uno Attack, and it's like, bury your neighbor in cards or all gang up on your mother as it looks in my house. All right, so chat in your favorite board game. And the next thing
Make
I'm
me
going to ask you
jealous.
as we get started is tell us how many sales shots you've been to before. So, we always love to find our shot versions out here. I said version, not virgin, not because I'm trying to keep this, rated PG, but just because I cannot speak today. Oh, we've got her, Melissa and Lauren. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. And Brian, this is fun. We've got a lot of new folks today. All right. Really cool. So this is different than most months. Every month we do a sales shot, 30 to 60 minutes, tip rich, free. We do rep level content like this, really good tactical stuff. That's what we're known for at Factor 8. We do manager stuff, we do leader stuff, and we do things for enablement leader. So we switch it up every month, and you can find more of those online. Amy will drop the chat in a second of where to find those. So you can sign up for a few, but it's a really fun thing. You can bring the whole team. And my tip is chat with the team afterwards. So I'm a bit of a training snob. And although this is fun and informational, it's not training. You can't expect anybody to do anything differently after this. We're going to give you some ideas. So if you can't bring the training in, and I'm going to give you a way to get it super cheap and free today, then at the very least, practice some of these things afterwards and talk about them. And that helps get you to the next step. So what's different about today is I'm joined by three highly esteemed, fabulous panelists. These are all friends of Factor 8, and they're going to share their tips and tricks along the way as well. So let's have them introduce themselves. Oh, by the way, for my anniversary gift, I just did 16 years with my husband, and I gave him a picture. I don't know why. It was like whatever year it was, it had silver in it. So I'm like, all right, it's a picture. So I did a wedding picture on one side, and then I aged us to our 80s on the other side. Check out how hot I am as an old lady, right? He was bald, by the way. So my kids got a really big kick out of that. But what's funniest about this to me is I showed this picture to y'all when we did tech prep before, and none of you noticed that I was 80 years old in this picture.
No,
So
didn't
anyway,
notice. Mm-mm.
that's me. I'm LB. I'm the founder of Factor 8 Girls Club and Legacy. I've got a bit of an attention problem, but Factor 8 is almost 20 years old, and we were built to train virtual sellers. So if they wear a headset, if they're under 50, if they're BDRs, AEs, account managers, or frontline managers, that is our secret sauce and specialty. And of course, some of the tips we're sharing today. Danielle, you're up next. Tell us all about you.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Danielle Colombino. I am with Corning Incorporated under our optical division, and I am a sales development manager here. I have an amazing team of sales development reps, and ultimately, our main goal is to help identify a new business in the telecom industry. And so far, I've been with Corning for 9 years at this point, and I've been working with Factor 8, have been an amazing collaboration for the past year.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you. We love having you, and we're big fans of Corning, and you're going to be able to share what your team is using. So, thank you to my friends Jennifer and Nancy, who work with Evie, who's going to introduce herself next, because I have some sort of an echo. So, I'll try to work on that a little bit in the background and be less annoying. Well, Evie, sorry, Patrick, I skipped you. We're going to save you for last, only because you're in the palm trees. Evie, will you go next, please?
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, especially with the Factor A team and Patrick and Danielle. My name is Evie Mitchell. I'm a director of a new business at Scholastic, where I lead a team focused on prospecting schools and booking Scholastic book fairs. Our world is all about outbound calling, connecting with really busy educators, earning their attention quickly, creating conversations that actually matter. And in May of 2025, we partner up closely with Factor A to train both our reps and our managers. We've seen some fantastic results from that work. So one of the biggest things that I've learned is how to show up on the phone in a ways that feels natural, confident, is not pushy, And because that's what really opens the door to some great conversations. So I'm excited to share what's been working for us and hear what's been working for all of you as well.
I love that. All right. Say yes in the chat if you remember Scholastic book fairs, either going yourself or as a parent. Look at all of this, right? Clifford the Big Red Dog. We were just cleaning out my teenagers' closets, and I can't tell you how many times we bought the book just for the Lego Ninjago figure. They never read the damn book, but they just love, love, love the book fairs. They're always a big deal in our world. So, Evie, also while you're in chat, Magic School Bus, right, Amy? While you're in chat, please give a little applause to some level to Evie, who has just been promoted. We're super happy to have you here in your new fabulous role. And your team is just doing an incredible job. It's really fun to partner with you. All right. Our newest friend of Factor 8 is Patrick Lynch, who's joining us from
the lovely island of Antigua in the Caribbean. It's a great time. So my name is Patrick. I've been with Verizon Wireless Zone for about 11, 12 years now. We've been in business for 30. We're a Verizon authorized retailer. For the last 10 years, I've been dominating on an outbound calling culture to separate us from all of our competition. And over the last 3 months, I've been working with Lauren, both inside and out, and we just dominated our wireless zone convention of all of our 1,000 stores across the country together. And I'm excited to be part of this webinar on what's working for us and some of the great tips I've learned and implemented over the last few months, courtesy of Lauren.
But listen, Patrick's a beast on his own. So he's got his own tips he's going to share. But what's really cool about this is look at the 3 different industries that we have. So Pat with a Verizon store, it's what you're thinking about. That's like sit next to your movie theater, right? Locally. So the folks who have these franchises, by the way, have better reviews than Disney. Like it's an incredible culture. But retail does not have the traffic it used to. So what are they doing? They're picking up the phones, man. So Patrick just had his first cases of a keynote that I got to do with him in the lovely downtown Cleveland, Ohio. And now he's been bitten by the bug. So we're just going to keep inviting him to all the fun things that we do. Here's what we're going to cover today. All right. We're going to talk about lead warming, right? That was a big part of the description here. You don't, get to call once and have it work. It's just not how it works anymore. So how do you warm these up? And it's changed in the last few years. Then we're going to look at hilarious examples and what doesn't work, right? Like horrible ideas. And we'll share mistakes that we've made. That's the fun part. I have a great story there. Now we're going to talk about leading with value. So when you are cold calling, it can't be all about you, folks. Big surprise. So the thing you'll hear over and over at Factor 8 is Swift. That's what we're most famous for. And at the end, I'm going to give you a chance to take a Swift masterclass for, I think, 99 cents because it is really, really helpful. And I want everybody to get in on it. And then as a bonus, we're talking about building phone confidence because prospecting is a numbers game, right? That's tough. So, by the way, we do this, like I said, every single month, factor8.com/shots. Come and join some of our next ones. All right, here we go. Shot number 1. This is our warm-up shot. By the way, I met somebody when I was doing a keynote in, I think it was Atlanta, and they're like, we really do gather in the conference room for this and pretend we're doing shots. So I'm not going to say her name because they might have actually been doing shots. But let's start with the panel. Like in your industry, what is your connect rate, your contact rate like on call one? Evie, let's start with you, right? You're calling out to busy educators. What percentage of the time do you actually get who you're looking for on the first try?
The hardest part of this is to actually get someone on the phone. So I would say in our environment, that contact rate is influenced, but who is it that we're actually contacting? So sometimes we may have parent volunteers that maybe we may get to be lucky to get them on the first try. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it may be school staff. They may connect, they may not. Sometimes schools have policies when there's no phone during the class, during the teaching hours. We may have media specialists that cover a few schools and only they're on schools on certain days. So there's a lot of moving parts. Yeah. Yes, getting someone on the phone, it is the hardest. Sometimes it may be 2 or 4 touches to finally connect with the decision maker. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's not bad, Evie. I got to tell you, 2 to 4, not bad. Danielle, how about Corning Optical?
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely trying to get into a lot of different markets, right, and reach some heavy decision makers on the technology side of things. So, depending upon if it's a warm lead or a cold lead, right, we can go from a touch perspective from maybe we'll get somebody in 6 touches if it's more warm, right, all the way up to like 13, right? And sometimes that can span over a month. Sometimes we put them also through 2 months. So it can take a little bit of time for sure.
Evie, you're feeling lucky right now, right? You're like half of Danielle and her average. But wait till you hear Patrick. Patrick, who sold him the cell phone. Go ahead.
So I have a bit of a cheat code here. I'm getting on average about a 25% touch rate in 1 in 4 calls. So obviously one of the things that works really well for us is it'll take us, 4 calls before we actually get a hold of the person. And then it's ensuring that, we are talking to the right person. So it's 1 in 4. And for our B2B side of the business, it's about 1 in 6.
Got it. Got it. Does anybody have higher than Danielle on the 6 to 13? So chat it in if you need us to feel sorry for you. You're in good company. We'll be happy to do it. The recent research, right? It used to say, marketing experts would say it takes around 6 to 7 touches to build brand awareness, warm them up until they're ready to make a buy. Early stage awareness is 5 to 20 now. Recognizing the brand about 7 to 10. Trust the brand 15 to 25, close the sale 45 to 60. So these numbers have quadrupled in the last 4 or 5 years because we truly do live in the attention economy, which is why it's so important to warm, right? So what does warm mean to you? What does your team do to warm? Let's go to you first, Danielle.
Yeah, I would say warming a lead is getting them familiar with you. And that's you understanding your customer and them starting to understand you.
Good. Really good. Anyone have something to add or change to that, Evie or Patrick?
Yeah, I would add to it, warming to me, getting them to see you, the real you. So I make sure to add people that I'm looking to follow on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, and so they can start seeing some of the stuff that I post, like being here in Antigua, anything I can do for a window of contact.
Yeah, really good. Because when you're warming, you're branding your company, you're branding yourself. You're looking for that awareness and recognition so that if your name pops up, it doesn't, right? It's not a negative connotation. It might not be, oh, it's Danielle. She's in Charlotte. She's the Corning Opera. But it's like, oh, that feels familiar. And I'm going to pick that up. Evie, anything you want to add to that?
Yes. So warming, I would say for us, it means moving from unknown to recognized and relevant, and kind of very similar. We accomplish this by sending them to marketing emails that they're receiving. We're kind of qualifying them through different stages. And
Yes.
sometimes we meet our customers at the various conferences. We're sending them postcards.
Yes.
So it could be a variety of channels.
Yes. Now, not everybody's lucky enough to have the brand recognition, right? Everybody knows Scholastic, right? Our chat just went crazy for that. Corning, you're also well recognized. Verizon, really well recognized in your fields, but not all of us have that luxury, and that will help open doors. But if you don't have that national brand recognition, you may have to warm more. And the best practice in this now is called multi-channel, right? So I've just put a little sequence up here for you to screenshot if you don't have one already. But what you'll see here is there's this combination of LinkedIn, email, and phone. And when we at Factor 8 will do this, our emails will be sometimes from a person, sometimes from a company, but you're looking for that brand recognition. You'll also notice in here that I'm starting with LinkedIn comments before connections. And I just want to share that really quickly. If you want to be recognized, make a comment on someone's post. Liking it means nothing, right? When people are trying to get visibility, comments are what get people visibility, and it gives them that little dopamine hit. They post something. Patrick, you probably just did it, right? You posted a picture of you with a beer in Antigua, and you know who commented on your post, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So like that's a name you're going to recognize. The 80 people who liked it, you probably didn't click into that. So yeah, that builds, it's kind of a cheat code in building LinkedIn recognition quickly. When we're doing warming, I'm going to share with you that shorter is always better. But before I go on to the next slide, does anybody have comments? Do you have a set kind of warming sequence, or do the rep level own it? Does marketing own it? Patrick, let's start with you and then we'll go with Evie and Danielle.
Mhm.
So one of my tried and true things that I've always done is motivational Mondays and posting a video about like a tech tip or something like that. Um, I
Cool.
I posted in community boards or wherever so people know my name. So if I have the opportunity to call them, they're like, "Oh yeah, I see your stuff on Facebook or whatever." So that helps separate me.
Fantastic idea. Yeah, that's really cool. How about you, Evie?
So what we typically do is we would try obviously with a phone call. Sometimes we can connect with the decision maker. If we can't, we gotta leave a voicemail. And then the second touch is going to be an email.
Yep.
And then the third touch we may have to try to connect with someone else, some other maybe other decision maker that has the ability to make reservation
Yep.
to
Going wide.
yes, exactly when it comes to making
Good. So
decisions
it
in
sounds
order
like primarily a voicemail email combination.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you only have to go to 4 to 6. Look, this one's going to 14 touches and it's also including LinkedIn. So steal it if it can be helpful to you, or you can grab some best practices. But here's just a little interesting tip. Shorter is always better. So this one's a LinkedIn study showing response rate based on length of message. They are directly correlated. Okay. So I'm just going to start with a couple really quick little tips here. By the way, InMail for some reason still has a higher response rate than email. I don't respond to InMails on LinkedIn, especially when they're obvious pitches, but somebody is out there. So the stat shows about a 15 to 20% response rate, where email is, down in your single digits. According to this study, 150 words is best. Under 400 words is 22% higher likelihood to get a response than the longer ones, right? And you can use the SWIFT approach here. So I've just given you a couple examples of things that I've done. When I reach out to follow, I'm giving a compliment or a very quick reason. It's a line or two. Someone is going to be more likely to connect with you when there's a personal note, right? And then here's an example of what I've done before. Hope I'm not overstepping. Here's a free resources clients are loving. And then I ask a single question, and I'll teach you about this later. It's a Swift question. If you want somebody to start a dialogue with you, ask them a closed question that's very easy to answer. And now you're in a back and forth conversation. Unfortunately, I'll be showing you examples of terrible examples of this in our next section. Um, Here's an example of what it might look like in an email, right? And hey, just left you a voicemail. So that double tap is I've left a voicemail, then I quick send a follow up email. So it's easy for them to respond. Cool. All right. So some examples you can steal there. I'm moving on in 3, 2, 1. Let's have some fun with never do this. So warm up your best worst practices, and I'd love to hear them on chat too. This is where I get to just rant like an old lady of things that piss me off. So never pitch in your initial message. I'll tell you that 80% of the LinkedIn messages I get are this long, and they include links where I'm supposed to do all the work to book a meeting with them so they can sell me something. And it just makes me laugh. Like, touch one is never a pitch. We've already talked about like versus comment. Don't make them scroll, right? It's just never going to happen. I mean, I must get 30 sales messages a day via email and LinkedIn, and they're all long, full of everything about them and their pitches. It drives me crazy, right? Don't sell in your first touch, and never sell over email. So let me pause at number 5 so I don't sound too horrible, and have you guys pipe in. Who's ready with a hot pet peeve?
I like that don't use attachments or embedding executives. That's a
Right
good
here in
one.
our comments. Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, why not,
Mhm.
Patrick?
So for me, if I get something like that, I'm like, dude, I'm not opening this link. I don't know who this is. I don't want to worry about a scam or something like that. So just my immediate reaction is, I don't know you. I'm not opening an
Delete.
attachment.
Yes, yes. Delete. Good one. Who else?
I would say if there's no personalization, it's really, really a big turnoff for me.
Yeah, yeah. Danielle, we help companies like yours with da 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 da. Drives me nuts. Evie, how about you?
Yeah, if it's generic and tries to sell something, it comes across as desperation. So it's more about them and their contact than what they're trying to do versus the customer's needs. So it's not really consultative selling.
100%. And it's just like the vast majority of messages that I'm getting 100%. Somebody else is saying obvious AI, which is like, how can you tell? How
Like,
can you guys tell? Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, I was gonna say when someone puts like time is running out in the subject line or some dramatic subject approval in the email, I'm out. Like I'm out.
I know, right? I'm also out when somebody's, hey, bumping this to the top. But what really gets me when they're like, Lauren, are you listening? You've ignored my last 5 messages.
Oh
Right?
my.
I'm like, seriously? You're trying to guilt trip me? You're a horrible seller. You need to piss off. Oh, that's the worst. All right. And then you guys know it since you've been through any Factor 8 training, touch base is like the worst. Hey, just touching base. Yeah, don't waste my time and don't touch my base.
Yes.
All right. So people are talking about how you can tell it's AI. Little green check boxes, the M dashes, which by the way, someone just taught me that's what that meant. Like I didn't know what an M. Why is it called M dash? Does anyone know? Those long AI dashes? I don't know. Somebody can tell us in chat. All the emojis, excessive hyphens, yeah, all the asterisks that are in there. Yeah, bad news. All right. So basically, what we're saying, you guys, is warming is not selling. Is that fair? Warming is not selling. The whole goal is to get a call where you get to have a conversation about helping, not pitching. Here's another great big never. Don't stick just to email. So we did a big Factor 8 survey last year. And if you have that link around, share it with people because there's incredible data in here and you will see your teams. It was anonymous. We asked reps, managers, leaders, and enablement folks, like what's working, what's not, when what do you hate about your manager? What do you love? How much are you really working when you're working from home? Well, lots of really good juicy stuff. Anyway, we were asking, where do you spend the majority of your time? And 53% won with email. Phones were the lowest at 34%. So I'm spending less than a third, about a third of my time actually picking up the phone. And we said, all right, but what actually works? What actually works for getting the meeting or the deal? And look at this. It's the opposite. So if you're hiding behind email, you're not going to make it. Email is comfortable, phone is effective. And I'll tell you, everybody runs into this, folks. It's natural. Okay. It is not a normal thing to put yourself out there and call a stranger. I have this as I'm doing follow up with customers. So much faster and easier to just pop an email to them, and it gets 100% ignored. And then as soon as I call, it's oh hey LB, good to hear from you. I'm like, what are you talking about? I sent you 10 emails. But phone is effective, right? Email is hiding. All right, so let's talk about some good practices here in warming. I'm going to tell you long is bad. So talk in bullet points because people are scanning. I've already shared this before, but finish with a swift question. And if you don't make it to the end of this webinar, the swift question isn't about value and it's not an open question, it's a closed question. Hey, are you still working out of Charlotte? Do you run an inbound or an outbound team? Are you still using the Galaxy S24? How many book fairs did you do last year? Whatever it is, but it's a short, rote answer. And that it makes it so much faster and easy to apply because all of our email boxes are overloaded. Okay. You're competing for time and energy and readability and space. And I'll tell you, I get my biggest dopamine hits now by bulk deleting, right? Control, select, 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 select. And when I can get up to like 80 deleted emails that I never open, makes me so happy. All right. Another thing we want to talk about is getting personal. Pat shared the example of putting his face out there, right? And letting people know them. Be personalized, be silly, tell dumb stories about Lego Ninjago, whatever it is, okay? And then, of course, always adding value. If you have to ask for something, ask for help, not right away for the pitch. So I'll pause here again and go to some best practices on warming. Let's start with you, Evie.
So our best practices is, I mean, the Swift is awesome. We have been using this. We may say something. This is Evie with Scholastic. On the recorded line, I work with other schools in your districts, wanted to see how we can help your school reach their literacy goals this year. Are you familiar with Scholastic Book Fairs? So that is short, less than 15 seconds, and it kind of opens the conversation, like you said, ending it with a yes or no question.
Yeah. I'm helping you with literacy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not selling you books. I'm not selling you fairs. I'm helping you meet your goals. Are you familiar with?
Yes, bringing
Yes,
value
no.
and making it personalized. It don't, we're not trying to sound like every other vendor that is calling them, and being relevant, bringing value and focusing on them and their needs and not focusing on us.
Wonderful. Really good. Thank you for sharing that specific suggestion. Thank you for that. Danielle, how about your team? What are some things that you guys talk about doing to keep things warm?
Yeah, I would say, in our space, we get a lot of operators, right? So we get somebody a gatekeeper, right? And kind of getting past that. And one of the skill topics we've loved from Factory is capture contacts. And that really all is about maximizing who you have on the phone. I used to sell in the field and, coming in now as a manager, learning that skill, it's so valuable and you can get so much out of it and also still can apply the swift introduction, right? Bringing value to get that referral. So really just maximize your time with anybody on the phone.
Bingo. And that's what that class is about, everybody. So capture contacts is part of our prospecting certification, which I'm sure Amy will drop links in at some point if you're checking out and looking for training for your team. But the whole idea is everyone talks about getting around a gatekeeper. And when you've got a live body on the phone, especially an operator who's sitting there looking at the company directory, right? Like I'll tell you, my record is keeping one on the phone for about 7 minutes. She went and answered a lot of other calls and then came back and be like, oh, yeah, that person. Okay, here's their extension. That person, here's their extension. So I love that that's working for your team. And what a great way to get that info and build relationships with those people too, right? You're warming influencers. Anything else to share? Pat, you already shared a tip. Do you have another one?
Just another tip that I can do is someone who, kind of based off of what I sell to directly to people. So I'm not dealing with gatekeepers. I'm dealing with decision makers a lot. If I get the voicemail, I keep it short, mystery voicemail. I will just pull my phone out because I know it's their cell. Be like, hey, this is Patrick. I just left you a voicemail. I just wanted to introduce myself. Listen to that voicemail. Let me know what's up. It takes me 20 seconds. There's a text and it's different than everybody else.
That's personal. It's totally different than everybody else. A LinkedIn voice note does the same, which, by the way, you can only do on your phone. I looked for it forever online, and because I'm old, but it's only on your phone. So be cool and young, and that helps. And I like Jennifer, your feedback here too. Quit sending, like always personalize. Since we're on the positive slide instead of the negative, always personalize that LinkedIn invitation. Really good. I'm going to tell you to always leave a voicemail as well. If you haven't taken the Factor 8 voicemail class, you understand that this is your brand opportunity. These are free commercials. Patrick, do you remember the number we came up with when we were on stage? We were like, if you just do a couple hours of calling per person on shift at the Verizon store, I think in the end it was like you're going to have 150 or 70,000 free commercials.
Essentially, yeah. For at like the end of the month, if you did 100 calls, it was crazy, or 100 calls
These
a
are
day.
free commercials. Yeah. So leave the voicemail. Leave a decent voicemail. There's
Good
definitely
one.
bad
Got to
times.
run on.
Yeah, exactly. And I say always try at least 6 times. And let me show you some stats about that. It's gotten harder getting a hold of decision makers. These numbers on my slide have doubled. So the question is, what do you think? Right? With 2 calls, what percentage of decision makers will you actually reach on average? With Patrick, it's 50 damn percent. But the stat industry wide, about 25%, 1 in 4 tops with 2 calls. You're still not going to get to 100% after making 12 calls. So to me, once you're here at the 6 or 8, it's like the law of diminishing returns, right? So go to at least 6 because the vast majority of sellers give up. Look at this. Look at that. 20% of callers are going to do more than 2 calls. And right there's your difference. This is why prospecting is a numbers game. This is why you need a system. Okay. This is why you need a cadence. We can't give somebody 200 leads and be like, good luck, because we're going to cherry pick. We're going to hide behind email. We're going to make up our own systems. Our branding may not be consistent. Partner with your marketing department, create a cadence, make some of it personal from the rep, make some of it led by marketing and your systems, right? Automate what you can, but do it in a personalized way and add in those personal phone calls, at least 6. By the way, here's a stat just to make you sad. My leaders on the call, 30% of those leads you're giving away have never been called. And I have a feeling it's getting higher, which is a real big bummer, right? That's a lot of missed opportunity. The goal, remember, is the sales call. Okay. It's sort of like if you remember interviewing, you sent out a resume and you had this tendency to want to make it 10 pages long to include everything you've ever done. but the goal of the resume is to get the interview. Okay. The goal of the warming is to get the sales call. And I remind you of that just to make sure we're crystal clear on this. Do not, in your email, your LinkedIn, or your voicemail, pitch. Do not even lead with your value prop. Okay. So, Evie, if your email was going out saying, hey, we're here to help you with your literacy goals. Scholastic is the world's leading provider of education-based literacy programs and blah, 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 you know, like it's an obvious sales pitch. Okay. So ditch that. This is not where you use it. A lot of people do the same. Like, we've been working with lots of customers in your industry or your area or your, right? The social proof. I get it. It's good in sales. It doesn't belong up front in the warming. Okay. The bald meeting asks is when you don't know me, you've earned zero, right? And you're asking for my time. You'd have better luck asking me for $100. Just no, just absolutely no. Okay. So any other last tips around this, right? Things that you've seen people do, mistakes maybe newbies made on your teams when they were sending those warm-ups?
I think a lot of that focus is on building trust. They have to trust us. If I can
Well
just
said.
kind of barge in and start telling them how great we are and how long we've been in business and all of these things that we're introducing, they don't care because they don't trust. 80% of this process is trust.
And that's why we're warming, right? That's the whole point of building this recognition. Thank you for underlying that. That's critical. Anybody else?
No scripts.
Say it again, Pat.
No scripts. No just reading the monotone script. I can't stress that enough in my line of work.
Ooh, that's
Hi,
frustrating.
this is Patrick calling from Verizon. You can upgrade your phone. Just stop in anytime between 8 and 5.
Like, you don't need a rep for that, folks. If you like your job, do not read from a script because you will be replaced by an automated outbound voicemail. Good. All right. So I just want to remind everybody as we close this up, you're not alone. These are more survey results, right? What's the hardest part of sales? The overwhelming answer was prospecting. Number two was down at 15%, and that was closing. So you are not alone. And by the way, what I do find interesting is that we had quite a few folks from Factor 8 obviously take our survey, and we are below the national average of prospecting hatred, which is up towards 70%. So building confidence, creating systems, and sharing your failures and ideas with other people can make this easier, right? When we're at home feeling like we're doing this alone, I promise you that the 150 people here today are going to go home and have, like, when we get off, have a better, more successful, more confident outbound today because, right? You're like, we're all in this together, I guess is what I'm saying. All right. Sales shot number two. It's a bad idea, that second shot, especially as you get my age. But let's just share some more hilarious worst practices, right? Anybody who wants to go first, jump in. Worst blank you've ever received. All right, Pat's ready.
I'll jump in. Worst voicemail I ever got was from one of my reps because my cell phone number was on the system.
Oh, that hurt.
Oh yeah, this one hurt. Hi, this hi. This is Amanda. I'm calling you from the Verizon store at Dunn's Corners. I just wanted to reach out and follow up with you regarding your Verizon account. I'm the new sales rep, and I wanted to introduce myself to let you know that you qualify for some promotions. Please give me a call back at the earliest, most convenient time for you. I literally took that voicemail, I brought it in, and I was like, I never want to hear something like this ever again. It was like 35, 45 seconds of just dribble. It was awful.
Well, there was a lot of mistakes in there that, we share in our worst practices for sure. But when you went back and said, this is awful, what did she know was awful? What
So
instinctively was she like, you're right, it was?
she said, I read from the script and I didn't make it I just didn't keep it simple. And we went from there. She's like, I should have just said, hey, my name's Amanda. I work at Verizon. You have some offers on your account. I want to save you money. Call me back.
Boom, done. Love it. Feel free to chat in what else you would coach this rep on. What else was wrong with that voicemail is the question on the table. Evie, your turn.
So one of the examples may be, hi, this is Karen. I was just reaching out because we're working with a lot of schools in your area right now and wanted to connect and see if you might be interested in possibly scheduling something for later this year or next year. We have a lot of different programs and options available. I'll be happy to walk you through all that and answer any questions you might have. If you could give me a call back when you have some time, that would be great. and then my number is this, and I'll try again soon.
Yeah. Oh God. And I'll try again soon is like, don't even bother to write this down, right? Like, oh, okay. So that is a really normal example. And that's selling over a voicemail,
Yep.
right? And I bet they didn't even finish listening to the whole thing.
It wasn't which company, there wasn't, it's just so many of these components. There's no reason to call back. It was too generic, sounded like every other vendor. There's no relevance. There's too vague. There's weak call to action. There's all kinds of things that were wrong.
There's just they line up, right?
Yeah.
The feedback writes itself. It's so hard as a leader to coach that, right? Because Patrick, you didn't want to beat her up. Same with you, Evie, right? Poor Karens of the world, right? They'd have the worst. They didn't know they were going to be made fun of somewhere in the middle of their life. I wonder how many Karens have changed their name in the last 10 years. But it that's a good one, a good bad one. Thank you for that. That's everything you're doing wrong. And if you're listening to this right now going, oh shit, that sounds like my voicemail, then you're in the right place. That's a good thing. Go take the voicemails class. We're going to make these better. Danielle, your turn.
Yeah, one that comes to my mind, one is no voicemail, which I know is kind of, counteractive, right? But ultimately, if there's no voicemail, I mean, I'm definitely not going to pick back up, right? So I think one of the things that we talk about a lot is leave the voicemail. Make sure you at least leave one, because I think that is a mishap sometimes.
Yeah, it's just free marketing. Love it. So your example is silence. Really, really good. I'm going to share a couple that I very easily went and grabbed from my LinkedIn and from my email. So what's wrong with this email, my chat friends? It is a great name, Karen Nash. Sorry. You get a bad rap with the Karens of the world. All right. What's wrong with this email? Way too long. Yeah. Hello. Come on. Right? Is anyone going to read this? That's not okay. I don't even want to let's get on a call to discuss. Here's my calendar link. You do all the work. I mean, has this ever worked? So watch your emails, folks. This needed to have cut off at the second paragraph, right? And then added value instead of asked for a sale. What's wrong with this LinkedIn message? Like last time I did this, I hid their picture, but now I'm just being rude. So super sorry if this is you, but it's bad. So again, we've got too long. Yeah, Carlos, you're totally right with the fluff and jargon, right? What works for marketing copy does not work in sales and should never be sent. What else is wrong with this?
It sounds like a copy and paste. It's right?
Yeah. Has anybody gotten one that has the wrong name on it? Where it was like, hi, name, or, hi, Bob. You're like, nice one. That's really bad. And again, here's the links. You do all the work. Any message that comes in that's full of links, I just automatically forget about. All right. What's wrong with this call intro?
What's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Yes. It's an obvious pitch, right? Leading provider of, and this whole, the blah, 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 blah. Is that interesting for you? It's so easy to just be like, nope. So we call that the get out of sales jail free card intro, right? Are you the person in charge of making the decisions about your technology purchases at your company? Nope. So if that's what you're using, can it? These are my fun favorite bad intros. I cannot wait to hear from you all. What are the worst bad intros that you hear, or what were the common offenders you heard on your team? So this one, Pat, was what she did. Hey, I'm your new account rep, and I'm just calling to introduce myself, right? When you're like, no one cares. Yeah, nope, you're not that important. Try it on your mom. All right, the toucher. You all know this is my pet peeve, right? Don't touch my base. Just absolutely not. Mm-mm. Or the value prop intro, right? Hi, this is Lauren, and we're the leading. Hate it. All right, what was the worst offender, Danielle, before you guys took Swift Intro at Corny? What were you hearing on calls?
I would say one is, and we definitely still coach on it today, but I think it is the I'm calling to learn about, or I'm calling to understand.
Yeah.
Um, So it's you as the rep want to learn, and that's great for you, right? But again, it's not
Yeah.
about them, right?
It's
It's
such a
now
good
you're making it
answer
about
because
you. Mhm.
and we did learn that we're supposed to be helpful and consultative, right? But you just don't lead off with what your goal is. We have to lead off with, so what's in it for them? Yeah, really good one. How about you, Evie?
I'm just calling to check back and see if anything changed since the last time we spoke. I hope you're able to find some volunteers to help you with the book fair. Please call me back.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably not going to get a call back. Not bad, but not going to get a call back. Yeah, right. So the whole idea of the Swift intro, and I'll tell you a little more about it in a second, is to add that value right away. Patrick, you already shared a bad voicemail. Any bad intros?
So I'm reading the chat and I'm just getting PTSD. The one of, hey, I'm calling to follow up with you. I reached out to you the other day and I haven't heard back. Was literally a call that I heard like 2, 3 weeks ago when we were planning for the convention. And I
Yes.
someone put it in the chat and I just got
Yes.
flashbacks.
I love it. And Chelsea, thank you for this. Touch base, close loops, and circle back. No, just no. So, other bad ideas, right? The five text message. Like, my neighbor wanted business advice. And so she texted. And I was in Europe at the time. So I paid for every download. And I just kept scrolling. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I think I got the entire. Well, the problem is she won't talk to me anymore when she walks her dog. But like, no, that's way too long. And a text for when you're asking for help right away, that pissed me off. So complete strangers asking for favors, right? So if you haven't warmed and you're jumping right in saying, will you please come and help me? So you can tell I got on my soapbox here, but those same complete strangers never circling back to say thank you when you do help them. Or the quick question. Do you guys get emails with, hey, quick question, Lauren? Like I can tell that it was written by AI and that's the whole thing. And could you benefit by getting 10,000 fresh leads every month? Obvious sales call. So, any other bad intros that we want to talk about before we close this up? Any other horrible ideas in sales that we haven't touched on?
Bettina in the chat nailed it. Opening with how impressive your work or your company is.
Ooh, so Patrick, why does that fail?
It's really simple. If your work is good, you should never have to explain how good your work is. Like it just makes me feel like every other person. Like, dude, you clearly aren't confident enough in your present. Forget even selling. You're not confident enough in your pitch to me that you can make me go, wow, I want to do business with you. You're trying to tell me you need to work with us because we're really good. I'm all set. Just like,
Yeah.
touching your base is yours. That one's mine.
Yep, there it is. All right. That's good. All right. So you're gonna love shot number three. And it's the Factor 8 famous Swift intro that we've all been talking about. So I'm just gonna ask the team, have you seen the difference while your people have used this Swift intro? Tell the people to pay
Absolutely.
attention. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think having a structure, especially at the beginning, because everyone has different ideas of how the beginning, and it's so important because it's like that, we have a few seconds to make a good impression and we can either lose it or we can win it. So being very relevant and having that ear perk and introducing yourself and quick yes or no question, all of these components are so important and keeping it under 15 seconds. So it's a great way to earn their time.
It really does work. It's crazy how well it works. And so I did some research around the brain science behind it, and it's called instinctive elaboration. And so what that means is when I ask you a question, Danielle, how old are you? Danielle's brain just like the answer, boom, just came into her head. Okay. Even though she was reading something off the screen right then, we literally hijack our listeners' brains and it will automatically start to answer the question. And when it's in your head, it's halfway out your mouth. And so the closed questions that they automatically answer without consciously thinking about are the ones that are the fastest to come out of their mouth. And that's why this works. So I'm just going to give you the basics of the Swift intro, and I'm going to have you give you a chance to take not just the online class, but a special master class with me for all of 99 cents. And I do that just so that you'll show up. So it starts with their name, really quickly who you are. Then you're going to do an ear perk or a lever, and you're going to end with 1 to 3 closed, swift, no brainer questions. So, Mr. Customer, Lauren calling from LB Med, we supply your disposables. This is from a recent conference I taught at. So, that is a lever. It levers any piece of information that says, I'm not cold, you know me, right? So Patrick, you'd be like, hey, this is Pat. I'm with, right, your authorized Verizon wireless dealer down by the Dunkin' Donuts. You bought your iPhone from us last month. So like, just so they know who you are, okay? The other ear perks are values. And in the Swift class, we teach the things that business people or any people care about, the Swift 6. So this one's about money. Hey, it's Lauren calling from LB Mudd. I'm calling to see if we can save you some money. Boom, that's it. Okay. It's about them. It's a one sentence value prop, but that's not about you. Okay. And then we're going to put it together with the questions at the end. Mark, LB here with Factor 8. I'm hoping I can get you and your team some higher commissions this quarter. You've got about 10 reps there, right? Are you running inbound or outbound? Do you have a few open positions right now? Okay, Mark's going to answer those. And right after, between 2 and 5 questions, depending on how confident you sound, he's going to be like, I'm sorry, who is this again? And that's when you drop your value prop. Okay, this gets people into conversations with you quickly. And that's the whole point of the intro. It also begins your relationship with value. Okay, and you want to use this, folks, even if it's a warm lead, even if it's an inbound lead. All right, why is it important to lead with value? Quick survey for the folks in the background. This question requires a number or a percentage as the answer. According to CVI, buyers who will choose to work with sellers, and I already said it wrong, folks work with sellers who are the first to add value. What percent of the time? Panelists. Oh, we've got 75. Hi, Schwalik. Good to see you, my friend. Patrick, what do you think the number is? Unless you know the answer, and then don't give it away.
I won't give it away.
All right, he knows it. Anybody not know it who wants to guess? What percentage of the time are they picking the vendor who's the first to add value? 3, 2, 1. Schwalik. Oh, Gianna, close. Schwalik, you nailed it. It's about 75% of the time. So it's important to lead with that value. Okay. So here's another example. Let's say you got an inbound lead. We did this with one of our VoIP provider clients. So they literally filled out a form. Okay. And what the reps were saying was, hey, my name is Lauren. You filled out a form on our website. It's my job to call you and follow up. There's no value in that. Okay. Remember, when they fill out a form, they're going to get 20 calls. So you got to speed to lead and you got to be the first to add value. Mark, my goal is to save you some time in your hunt. Hey, I'm calling to see if I can make this hunt of yours a little easier. And then we follow up with the questions. All right. So if you want to nail this for you and your team, and it's an amazing way to build confidence, and that's the last thing that we're going to talk about. The Swift Masterclass is this something we've never done before, but people love it so much that what we're going to do is give you the class and access to the sales bar for a week. Then I'm going to do a live workshop where we actually practice it. Okay. Knowing it and doing it, two different things. So you can have everybody on your team come for 99 cents. All you have to do is either chat or email us, Swift, right now. And we're going to send you the information. If you have a big team, right, I don't want you to fill the whole webinar. So I'm going to do it for you for free if you've got at least 30 people on the team. We're going to do a private Swift class just for your team. And the end results of these, you guys, are honestly, in some places, it's about 20 to even 60% increase in talk time. So are you guys seeing that? Like you're getting more people staying on the phone with you when you're using this? I'm not lying to them, right? Okay, thank you for that. All right, let's talk about building confidence because that's what prospecting is, a confidence sport, right? And that's what I love about Swift is it helps build that initial, like you said, Evie, getting over yourself, having the structure and getting in there. So I'm super happy to share that with the world. And I hope we get hundreds of people in there because we're going to love prospecting a lot more in the end. All right, I want to start with you guys. What have you done with your teams to limit the call reluctance? What's your hottest tip to build that phone confidence? Danielle, can I come to you first?
Yeah, one of the things that we do on a monthly basis and in also working with Factor 8 is we do a mock cold call session. So practice, right? It's about building that muscle, building that, more time on the phone. You're going to get more comfortable, more confident.
I love that. And you guys think about sports, right? Right. I used to picture Ted Lasso and how great that show was. And I love it. I'm so happy it's coming back. But like all week, they practiced for 4 hours a day for a 1 hour game. In sales, we're on all of that time with 1 hour of practice. So remember to not, even though they're getting the practice live, it's not the same as that safe environment where they can try out new things and get some feedback. So good one. Adding that practice in. Do it every week. Thank you for that. Patrick, how about you? I mean, you really built a whole phone culture there for folks who were not hired to be on the phones.
Yeah, Danielle hit it spot on. Practice, record what works, record what doesn't work, and most importantly, to get people to start actually calling, have some fun with the failure. That's probably been the best thing that we do. Like, you
Yeah.
get the worst call of the day, dude, I'm buying you lunch. Like, I'm all.
Yes.
So one of the, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So get your guys like, hey guys, we're gonna make calls today. We're gonna do this. Whoever has the worst one, like, we're doing something for you.
Yeah. The F up Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Like
that's what it is.
75%
Like,
of
all
sales
been
is
there.
failure. Yeah, exactly. And so if you're making calls too, make sure you're sharing yours, right? So Pat, you lead by example and you're out there hitting the phones, right? And then he walks into the store, by the way, with a full pipeline full of appointments and sales and all of those things. And that gets
Do
people
it.
excited about doing it, right?
Yep.
But he'll also share his failures. And as a leader, that's our job. We have got to make failure okay because that's how you build a learning culture. Evie, your hot tip.
I would say, we discuss as a team tonality, the importance of your voice and how sometimes you may have the best message, the best everything, and the way that you are delivering it is so boring that no one wants to stay on the phone with you. So we talked about tonality. We talked about driving excitement. Are you sounding like a person that you would want to give some time on the phone? So it's that, understanding that we have to be prepared. There's obviously, we can't be treating every school the same. So having that ear perk, something that is relevant to them and being very, very creative, but also keeping it short and following that sweat.
Yeah.
So I'd say
Yeah.
it's great.
What I love about what you're doing, the psychology behind this is you are talking about and coaching what they can control. Right. And so when I'm focused on, hey, this next call, I'm going to sound super excited or I'm going to sound more confident. Upspeak is another one I hear a lot of EVs. You get robots and then you get, hi, my name is Lauren. I'm calling a factor 8. Right. And it's everything's a question. So they're either Canadian or underconfident. I love you, my Canadian. Sorry about that. But you can control that. And so, hey, for the next 10 calls, we're going to sound like badasses. So I'm going to give you a quick tip on that. This is, we don't have a big following on YouTube. We don't, but we do stick these out there. And our very most famous watched class is called, not class, but video. My name's Lauren, damn it. Because that's what we do to get rid of the upspeak and the underconfidence. So combining what Evie and Danielle are doing, we're going to practice. And when you've got somebody who's sounding very timid, right? At the end of every sentence during the role plays, they have to say, damn it. So, hi, my name is Lauren, damn it. I'm with Factor 8, damn it. And I'm calling to save you money, damn it. And all of a sudden they get, right? And their voice starts to escalate and get a little more confident. And then, of course, you drop the damn it. We did lose a client for that once. They're like, do you realize she swore 37 times in that video? I'm like, it was in the title, man. You didn't have to watch it. All right. So I've got some more tips for us on building phone confidence here. Collecting failures, nailed it. Something I did with a client early on who had a new outbound team that had never made calls before is we created a call list for totally non-work things. I was living overseas at the time. I needed a place to board my cat. And so we all called vets' offices asking about boarding, right? Call and ask for lunch specials, call and do whatever it is, but get them doing it in a way that's not personal, that's not tied to their paycheck at first until they're crushing it. And they're fine with waitresses or hanging up on them about lunch specials. But you can build confidence just by going sideways for a minute. Patrick, you reward the worst call of the day. We've done this when we do live calling during training with companies that bring us on site. We'll reward the person who gets hung up on. Not because we want them pissing off your customers, but because we want your reps finding their edge. So Danielle, you were talking about the capture contacts class, right? And you keep them on the phone until they're done with you. And you know they're done with you when they're a little pissy. And we have to get okay with that, right? You're not even going to make their update at the end of the day. Hi, honey, how was your day? Well, there was this one rep who wouldn't get off the phone. No, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to have her over for dinner. You just get what you need done. It's like being a secret agent. There's going to be a little collateral damage, and it's going to be somebody who is slightly ticked off. Find that edge and reward it. We've talked about baby wins before on some of these, but I think it's so important, especially when you're trying out a new skill. The call feedback forms that we put along with our classes give points for trying. And that's what we're trying to do with that. Just attempting the skill, celebrate it. So if you're trying to create a new market somewhere, don't start with rewarding end result revenue, right? Reward the behaviors that build it along the way. I also like focusing on customer engagement and conversations instead of just how many meetings did you book or how many fairs did you book? Who had the best conversation today? Who learned something about their school? Who, right? And that can get them focused on the customer. And again, something else that they can control. So take a picture of this because we're going to move on quickly. But role play is super, super important. And making live calls, practicing these things is important. So if you don't have new hires making outbound calls in the first 2 weeks, get them a bunch of crappy accounts and let them get started right away, because that's how you build phone confidence early. If this is brand new to you and someday you would like to be like Evie, Danielle, and Patrick, know that we have an open cohort that we only do once a year of manager training. So like Evie said, we worked with their managers on site, but if you don't have 10, 15, 20 managers, it's kind of expensive to bring a company in to bring in management training. And 70% of companies do not provide training for their frontline managers. So if you're new or aspiring, right? If you've been in management a year or two and never gotten training, we have a cohort that's starting in July, and we've got Fortune 100 companies in here. And the reason you care about that is because this becomes your network, and you're going to get to learn from people at IBM is one name that I'll drop, and some of their frontline managers, and learn those best practices. Everybody gets a mentor. You get 5 Factor 8 classes over those 5 months. We have leadership speakers coming in and a chance to build a network with other managers at your level. So really cool, limited time offer. All right. So I'm going to first say thank you very, very much to everybody for being here. I'm going to skip through to the end here. I just want to tell you before I show everybody's picture one more time, if there's something you want to learn more about, if you have follow-up questions, if there's something we can do to assist, this QR code books a meeting with myself and Ashley, and we'd be more than happy to help. If you're just starting to figure out digital sales, if you're just starting to figure out digital sales training, if you're a brand new manager, if you're looking to try to up level your reps, I've got a couple of case studies here of some really cool results that my team has gotten, then please go ahead and use that QR link and book a code with us. I'm just fast forwarding folks to here. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we give some golf claps, please, in a chat to these fabulous folks? Everyone here has invited them to follow them on LinkedIn, and I'm going to give you folks the last words. Patrick, let's start with you.
So nothing really to add from this, guys. I mean, you guys are all going to get off of this webinar, hopefully be a little razzed up to go out there and start picking up those phones and dialing for dollars. The biggest thing, it doesn't work unless you do. Get out there, lead by example, create a system. Lauren's got some great ones. Use the Swift intros or like Jedi mind tricks. Like it's crazy because it's rethinking it, but this stuff works. And yeah, master the tonality. That was huge too. And just be yourself, be personable. In an age of AI and everyone being the same, be you and you will dominate.
What a perfect last word on that one. Thank you, Patrick. Danielle, what do you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I would say, 2 things. Just, have empathy for yourself, right? You're a human. The other person on the phone is a human, right? So just, be understanding of yourself as you're building these skills, and be curious, right, guys? Know your audience. Not everyone's going to be the same, to Patrick's point about that personalization. So just the more you know your customer, the more confident you're going to feel going into that call.
Wonderful. God, that's so good. This is fabulous advice. All right, Evie.
I think with us, especially trying to influence and connect with people that have no need, no desire, no interest, it's important to be very effective. So you should always have this kind of a North Star. And, since we partner up with Factor 8, we've seen a huge shift in our reps and just having that structure. And it seems like the good beginning of the conversation leads to so many great things afterwards. So it's having that foundation, and it's you can't really replace it. There's so many different school of thoughts, but at the end it's important to engage and learn and retain things that truly do work and are effective. So
You're
thank you so
exactly
much
right.
for.
And having that framework, nothing warms my heart more than hearing you guys say this, by the way. Thank you for that. It's the team and I have all been former sales leaders, and like you should see what happens when we get emails and feedback like this in our internal Slack channels, right? So well, look at somebody who said this and look at somebody who did that and they're using it and it's working. And we go nuts for your success. And thank you for letting us be part of your families. So if we can help you with anything else, here's those links again, the 30-minute meeting with myself and Ashley, our manager certification that opens in July. Or if you didn't and you'd like to get in on that Swift Jedi mind trick, then we're sending that out to the masses this summer, and it's going to be a ton of fun. Really grateful to you for being here and for partnering with us. You're fabulous, fabulous friends and family of Factor 8, and I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. We'll see everybody next month.